On the night of March 14th, a portal will open. Not a physical portal, but a rupture point where reality bends. The moon, serene and constant, begins to change. A shadow emerges, slow, inevitable. The glow fades, and the darkness advances until the moon bleeds in reddish tones. The total lunar eclipse has begun, and what if I told you this isn't just an astronomical phenomenon? That this eclipse is actually an alchemical portal? That it can change not just the sky, but your very consciousness? Since ancient times, wise ones knew these moments were more than just a play of light and shadow. They were omens. They were portals. They were the breaking point where the structure of reality dissolves, allowing something new to emerge. The Egyptians saw these eclipses as battles fought in the invisible realms. To the Mayans, they were signs that the balance of the cosmos was being tested. In alchemy, this event has always represented a hidden code, the ultimate transmutation, the dissolution of the old for the birth of the new. Now, tell me, do you really think this is just a meaningless phenomenon? The moon has always been the guardian of the unconscious, reflecting our secrets, our hidden emotions, everything we avoid facing. But when the shadow covers it, that light disappears, and without that reflection, what remains? What was hidden begins to surface. During a total lunar eclipse, energy inverts. What was once controlled is now unleashed. That's why, since ancient times, this phenomenon was seen as a moment of rupture and revelation. Something fades so something else can arise. What you feel right now is not a coincidence. There is something inside you being stirred. Patterns you thought you had overcome resurface. Repressed emotions emerge with force. Situations from the past return, because that is the function of the eclipse, to expose what needs to be transformed. But here's the secret that few know. This moment is not an end. It's a portal. When the moon turns red, when the sun and earth align in perfect harmony, a cycle is interrupted, and another begins. It is a crack in the structure of time, an energetic breach where reality becomes more malleable. This is the moment when what once seemed unchangeable can finally be transmuted. And that is exactly why so many ancient civilizations saw eclipses as sacred events. Now I ask you, what is ready to be erased from your life? Because whether you like it or not, this eclipse will bring changes. What no longer serves will fall away. What is hidden will be revealed. What needs to be closed will be. But there is a choice. You can resist. Pretend nothing is happening. Hold on to what should have already been left behind. But trust me, that will only make the process harder. Or you can do what the ancient sages did. Use this moment to your advantage. The eclipse is not destruction. It is a chance to rewrite, to transform, to transcend. The portal is opening. The question is not just whether you're ready to step through it, but what will happen if you don't. Everything in the universe follows a rhythm. Day turns to night, the moon waxes and wanes, the sun rises and sets. But why does this affect us? How can an astronomical event ripple through us? In Hermeticism, there is a fundamental principle. As above, so below. As within, so without. The universe is a mirror, and everything that happens in the macrocosm, the great celestial stage, is reflected in the microcosm, the human experience. The sky is not separate from the earth. The stars are not distant from consciousness. They are different expressions of the same principle. In alchemy, this process is not just an astronomical event. It is a hidden code, a repetition of the process that happens within us. The sun, consciousness, is temporarily obscured. The unconscious, symbolized by the moon, takes the forefront. The direct light disappears, and what emerges is an intense, reddish reflection, almost as if the moon were burning from within. This transmutation doesn't just happen in the sky. It happens inside you. Alchemists call this red phase Rubedo, the final stage of the great work, the moment when the lead of existence finally turns to gold. The burning red is not an end, but a rebirth. Everything material, everything dense, everything conditioned by time and beliefs dissolves in this moment. During the eclipse, this process unfolds in both the macro and the micro, in the sky and within you. The light that once reflected disappears, and what remains? The truth. The moon doesn't vanish, it becomes something else, just like you. This is the moment of fusion between opposites, the unconscious and the conscious, the mind and the spirit, the hidden and the revealed. The eclipse is an alchemical mirror, and in it you will see exactly what must be burned away to make space for the new. Whatever has been hidden within you will now rise to the surface. What needs to be dissolved will be. What is ready to be reborn will emerge. Because this is not just a night of darkness. It is the night when the philosopher's stone awakens. The final transmutation. And then, at the peak of the eclipse, when the blood moon reaches its maximum intensity, something subtle yet profound happens. The sun and the moon, always distant, always opposites, align in a way that transcends common logic. This moment is not just a play of light and shadow. It represents something that alchemists spent centuries trying to achieve, the fusion of opposites, the alchemical marriage. In the great work, the entire process of transmutation is based on this principle. The alchemist does not seek only to transform matter, but to integrate what, at first glance, seems irreconcilable. Fire and water, light and darkness, spirit and matter, sun and moon. When these forces meet and merge, a new state of being is reached. The final phase of the great work, called Rubedo, represents exactly that. After dissolution and purification comes the moment of full manifestation. The darkness of the blood moon is not just a temporary veil. It is the final purification before rebirth. Everything that has been burned in the fire of transmutation can now emerge in its purest form. To be in Rubedo means to have gone through the complete process of spiritual alchemy. First came Nigredo, the stage of darkness, where everything illusory had to be destroyed. Then Albedo, where impurities were washed away and the soul began to purify itself. But Rubedo is where transformation becomes real. This is the moment when enlightenment happens, when the alchemical gold is revealed. And in your life, what does reaching Rubedo mean? It means having gone through the chaos of deconstruction, having faced your shadows, and surviving the darkness. It means not just understanding your wounds, but transforming them into strength. Someone who has reached this stage no longer carries the need to run from pain because they have understood that all pain was just a phase of refinement. The moon, as it turns red, is going through this exact process. During the eclipse, the light of the sun, which has always reflected on it purely and brightly, is blocked by the earth. But instead of disappearing, it transforms. Its reddish color is not a coincidence. What is happening there is a process of transmutation. The earth, by blocking the sun's direct light, allows only the longest wavelengths, like red, to reach the moon. It's a filter, a purification. The white light is broken down, and what remains is only the fire. That fire does not destroy, it reveals. The same happens to you. What seems like a moment of total darkness is, in reality, a process of refinement. You do not disappear, you transform. The ancients knew that this moment was not just an astronomical event, it was a portal. A moment when the barriers between worlds become thinner, where what is hidden can be seen. But not everyone is capable of crossing. The total lunar eclipse is a test. It demands that you look at what you have always avoided. It exposes what needs to be integrated. The three principles of alchemy and the total eclipse. The transmutation is happening. The fusion of opposites has already been sealed in the sky, and the blood moon shines as a reminder that transformation is not just a concept. It's a real process, both in nature and within you. But for transmutation to be complete, you must understand the elements that compose it. The ancient alchemists knew that everything in the universe manifested from three essential principles: sulfur, mercury, and salt. These three pillars of alchemy are not just substances, but living forces that shape reality, operating both in the physical world and in human consciousness. Sulfur is fire, spirit, the divine spark. It represents the active principle, the flame that consumes, the consciousness that directs. Sulfur is the sun, the raw energy of creation, the essence that drives all things. During a total lunar eclipse, this principle is temporarily concealed. The fire withdraws, the light hides, and what remains is the necessary emptiness for something new to be born. Mercury is fluidity, the mind, the great agent of transformation. Like the liquid metal that shares its name, the mercurial principle adapts, infiltrates, dissolves, and reconstructs. If sulfur is the fire that burns, Mercury is the vapor that rises and carries the purified substance. It is the moon itself, receptive, unstable, always in motion. During the eclipse, when the sun's force is temporarily blocked, Mercury takes over. The mind becomes the center. The unconscious speaks louder. Intuition takes the lead. Salt is the foundation, the structure, the body. It is what remains firm even in the midst of transformation. Without salt, there is no stability for transmutation to occur. It is the earth that anchors the process, preventing sulfur from burning everything in uncontrollable flames or mercury from getting lost in volatility. Salt holds the connection between the two, allowing change to manifest in a concrete way. Now look at the eclipse. What is happening there? Sulfur, the sun, has been concealed, making space for Mercury, the moon, to take center stage. And salt, the earth, is in between, acting as the element that enables this exchange, this inversion, this suspended moment where everything can be redefined. What happens in the sky is a reflection of what happens inside you. And to understand this transformation in its entirety, you must look at the great work. The total lunar eclipse follows the exact same phases as spiritual alchemy. It all begins with Nigredo, the black work. This is the stage of dissolution when light disappears and shadow takes over. In the eclipse, this phase manifests as the moment when the moon starts to darken, sinking into the void. For the alchemist, this is the most challenging step. It is when everything that was solid begins to break apart, limiting beliefs, illusions, structures that once seemed unshakable. Everything dissolves. But Nigredo does not last forever. Just as the eclipse follows its course, the next phase inevitably arrives. This is albedo, the white work. In the sky, this moment begins when the moon starts to reappear, emerging from the darkness. Within you, it is when clarity begins to rise. After the initial destruction comes refinement. What was heavy becomes light. What was opaque begins to shine. Consciousness awakens to a new understanding. Then comes citrinitas, the yellow work. In the sky, this is the subtle glow that precedes the full return of the moon. It is the dawn before daylight, the instant when darkness is already behind. But the new cycle has not yet fully formed. This is the stage of illumination, where the first rays of a new reality begin to manifest. The mind expands, insights arrive, transformation becomes real. And then, Rubedo. The blood moon shines intensely, tinted by the fire of the hidden sun. This is the final stage of the great work. There is no more shadow, no more uncertainty. What was dissolved is now reconstructed, but in an entirely new form. The transmutation is complete. The eclipse reflects the journey of the soul. The cycle repeats, inside and out, in the sky and in consciousness. But what happens to you depends on what you do with this moment, because now that transformation has begun, there is no turning back. The eclipse in the alchemical vision. The transmutation is already underway. The eclipse follows its rhythm, reflecting in the sky the same processes happening within every being who allows themselves to go through this journey. But every great change brings a challenge, and not everyone who stands before this portal is ready to cross it. Since ancient times, eclipses have been met with both reverence and caution. In some occult traditions, these moments represented a rupture in the natural flow of energies, an instability that could bring disorder. The Picatrix, one of the most influential astrological grimoires of the Middle Ages, warned that eclipses were like cracks in the structure of time, where chaotic forces could manifest unpredictably. But here's the secret that few understand. Chaos does not mean destruction. In Hermeticism and alchemy, chaos is necessary. Without it, there is no transformation. What makes the difference is how you choose to engage with this moment. To those who live in fear, the eclipse may seem like a sign of instability. But to Hermeticists and Rosicrucians, these events were seen as alchemical portals, moments when reality becomes malleable and great leaps in consciousness become possible. And this story is exactly about that. It is said that in a distant village, there was a blacksmith named Elias. Elias was known for his skill in shaping metals, but his life was filled with dissatisfaction. He felt trapped in routine, stuck in the same work, repeating the same mistakes. No matter how much he dreamed of creating something grand, something that would turn him into a true master of the forge, he always found himself running into the same limitations. One night, an old sage arrived in the village. Upon hearing the blacksmith's frustrations, he handed him a piece of raw ore and said, "This metal holds pure gold within it, but to extract it, you will need to endure the most intense fire you have ever seen. The fire will burn away all that is impure, and what remains will be the essence of what has always existed within the matter." Elias accepted the challenge. He placed the ore in the forge and raised the temperature. But as the fire grew, the metal began to react unpredictably. It bubbled, sparked, twisted as if resisting the change. The heat was unbearable, and Elias began to doubt. What if this metal isn't meant for this? What if the fire destroys it instead of purifying it? Afraid, he pulled the metal out too soon. The result? Nothing changed. The ore remained raw, dull, untransformed. The sage returned and saw the blacksmith's failure. With a calm gaze, he said, "If you had let the fire do its work, the metal would have been purified. But you pulled it out at the moment of greatest resistance, and so you interrupted the process. Now, I ask you, do you want to be like the ore that flees from the fire, or like the one that endures the flames and becomes gold?" Elias understood. He lit the forge again, raised the fire to its maximum, and this time endured the process until the end. When he pulled the metal out, he saw that something extraordinary had happened. The raw ore had transformed into pure gold. This story perfectly illustrates what happens during an eclipse. The fire of transmutation may feel too intense. The shadows may seem frightening. But if you try to escape in the middle of the process, you will never see the gold that exists within you. The total lunar eclipse, like Elias's forge, is a test, a moment when energies reach their peak, bringing to the surface everything that must be burned away, purified, and rebuilt. To some, this may seem like chaos. To others, it is exactly what they needed to achieve true transmutation. In the end, the choice is always yours. Remain raw ore, or pass through the fire and become gold. The key to crossing the portal. If you've made it this far, it means the fire of transmutation has already been ignited within you. The eclipse is not just an external event. It's operating within your own consciousness, dissolving what needs to go, and preparing the ground for what's to come. But crossing this portal isn't automatic. Just as Elias had to trust the alchemical process of the forge, you also need to be aware of what is being transformed. The key to this moment is self-awareness. The eclipse doesn't bring ready-made answers. It simply illuminates the shadows that need to be seen. Issues you've avoided may resurface with force. Patterns you thought you had outgrown may reappear. People and situations from the past may come back, bringing one final test. This doesn't mean you're going backward. It means you now have a real chance to break this cycle. For that to happen, your intention must be clear. The ancients never saw eclipses as moments for impulsive action, but as windows for observation and preparation. The energy of this portal is too powerful to be wasted on confusion. Knowing what you want to transmute is essential. What part of your life is calling for renewal? What internal patterns need to be dissolved? What new reality do you want to manifest? And here's something few talk about. Transmutation only happens for those who allow it. The eclipse doesn't force anyone to change. It opens the portal, but it's up to you to walk through it. You must be open to the unknown. Understand that discomfort is part of the process, and trust that on the other side, a new version of yourself is waiting. But how do you anchor this energy consciously? How do you not just feel the transformation, but truly integrate it? There's a simple yet powerful way to do this, an alchemical ritual to harness the energy of the eclipse. This isn't a complex or dogmatic ritual, but a symbolic act to bring into the material world what is already happening in the invisible. Prepare your space. The place where you perform this ritual should reflect what is being worked on within you. Light a red candle, representing Rubedo, the fire of transmutation, and a white candle, symbolizing Albedo, the purification of consciousness. These two colors hold the essence of the eclipse, the balance between destruction and rebirth. Take a piece of paper and write. On one side, list everything you wish to let go of. Patterns, fears, situations that no longer make sense in your path. On the other, write down what you want to manifest after the transmutation. Who do you choose to become once you cross this portal? Now, close your eyes and visualize the eclipse. See the moon turning red, bathed in the cosmic fire of transformation. Feel this energy working within you, burning away what needs to be burned, revealing what needs to be revealed. When you feel the process has been absorbed, burn the paper, allowing your intention to be released into the universe. Watch the ashes, symbolizing what has been dissolved. Give thanks for the cycle that is ending and the new cycle that is beginning. The eclipse doesn't ask for superficial change. It calls for complete surrender to the process of transmutation. You will not be the same after this night, and that is the greatest proof that alchemy has taken place. The flames of the ritual have gone out, but the transmutation continues. The eclipse has activated something within you. A subtle yet powerful energy has begun to move. It may seem invisible at first, but the signs of transformation are already unfolding around you. The ancients knew that portals like this don't just mark a shift in the sky, they shift the very flow of reality. Now, the world begins to reorganize itself according to what was worked on during this sacred moment, and the signs begin to appear. Dreams become more intense. Hidden codes, symbolic messages, unexpected encounters in the dream world. Maybe you dream of people you haven't seen in years. Maybe abstract images bring an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Your conscious mind may not understand right away, but your soul does. The eclipse has stirred the deepest layers of your being, and your subconscious is trying to show you something. In the coming days, emotional patterns may rise with force. You may feel sensations you've never understood before, or unexpected reactions to ordinary situations. People from the past may resurface, not because they are meant to stay, but because something needs to be resolved. This is one of the greatest signs that transmutation is happening. What was once trapped inside you now wants to be set free, and it doesn't stop there. External changes begin to unfold. Plans that once felt certain may fall apart overnight. Opportunities that didn't exist before start to appear. Synchronicities increase. Small signs emerge as if the universe is rearranging everything according to your new vibration. Your perception of the world also shifts. Your spiritual connection intensifies. You may feel a deeper calling toward contemplation, meditation, or seeking answers that once seemed irrelevant. Your intuition sharpens. Words, music, ordinary situations carry hidden messages. It's as if everything is whispering to you. Now you see. But this isn't just a passive experience. The portal is open, but it's up to you to step through it. The total lunar eclipse of 0314 is not just an astronomical event. It is a cosmic alignment, a call for those who are ready for true transmutation. Just like in alchemy, the darkness of the eclipse is necessary for the light of consciousness to be reborn even stronger. If this moment found you, it's not a coincidence. If this message resonated, it's because something within you has already begun to awaken. The only question left is, are you ready to cross this portal? But transmutation doesn't end here. The eclipse is just the beginning of something much greater, and to help you cross this portal in the right way, we've prepared a special video for you to take the next step on this journey. Don't leave just yet. Click on the video appearing on your screen now, and let's meet there. The portal is open. The choice to walk through it is yours.